My name is Jim McGuire, and welcome to the Comcast show this evening. Tonight we have a very special show about not drinking and driving during the holidays. It seems to be a terrible problem in Putnam County around this time, starting with Thanksgiving and the Christmas holidays. And it can happen to almost anybody. You could be 17 years old or 18, or you could be 78. It's just a terrible mistake to make, to drink and drive. And tonight we have a great panel with us who's going to talk about that. And I'd like each one of them to introduce themselves as we go down the line. First is Adam Levy.
Thank you, Jim. Yes, I'm Adam Levy, the Putnam County District Attorney. And once again, thank you for having me here. Our goal in the District Attorney's Office and law enforcement in general is to keep all of our citizens here in Putnam County safe for the holidays. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Adam. And we have...
Hi, I'm Nora Slavinsky. I am with Arms Acres Liberty Behavioral Management here in Carmel. I'm also a part of the Stop DWI program here in the county. And basically, through Arms Acres, we're here to help people with substance abuse and addiction problems. And the Stop DWI program is just increasing awareness about the dangers of drinking and driving.
Thank you very much. We have an invited guest tonight, Sue Sunshine, and she's going to tell her story about what happened to her in regards to using alcohol and driving. Sue.
Thank you, Jim. I'm Sue Sunshine. I am a resident of Putnam County, and I have a story in it that could possibly help somebody else that I can share, that I'd love to share.
Right, very good, very good.
Sorry.
I just wanted to say to the panel here, I noticed that there's tremendous severe penalties when people drink and drive, and yet people continue to do it during the holidays. They can lose their license, they can go to jail, things can happen to them, they lose their jobs. Can you just want to say why you think it's going on, Adam? Why do people continue to do this?
Jim, I'll say that I don't necessarily agree with your premise that the penalties are so severe. Sometimes I don't believe that they are severe enough. And what is the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. The answer is people drink for a whole host of reasons. And I'm not here, I don't think any of us are here to tell people to stop drinking. That's not it at all. Mm-hmm. What we're here to try to get across to the people who are at home is that when you make the choice to drink to the point of impairment or intoxication, and then get behind the wheel of an otherwise 4,000-pound vehicle, turning that from a mode of transportation into a guided missile, gets a lot of people in our county and others very concerned. So our goal is just to, again, raise awareness, as Nora has indicated, and just get people out in our community to make better choices.
Mm-hmm. Very good. What do you think, Nora, about something?
Jim, I think just in terms of penalties and the cause and effect, I think it might be a really good idea or important to hear Sue's story, because I think it kind of gives us the foundation of the dangers and the causes and the concerns of why we're here today.
Sure. Sue, would you like to tell your story about what happened?
Yes, thank you, Jim. I'd love to. Many years ago, when I was in my early 20s, I had a drinking problem. I didn't have many consequences of it. I was not married. I had no children at the time. But I started my family, and I got sober, and I had 10 years of sobriety. Back in 2007, I picked up a drink at a barbecue, and my addiction and alcoholism came rushing right back to me. I was off to the races immediately. I had an incident back in 2009, of July in 2009. I drove my daughter and 5 of her friends to a local fair, at the Firehouse Fair. I dropped them off with the understanding that I was not going back to pick them up, that I was pretty much done for the evening, and another parent was going to be picking them up. So I went to a friend's house, and we proceeded to drink. We were drinking quite a bit that evening. I was close to home, so I guess I had a comfort level. But then at one point, a couple hours into this, my daughter made a phone call to me, and she had said that basically it was dark, it was raining, they wanted to leave the fair, and that she couldn't reach the mom that was picking them up. They couldn't reach their ride, so they had asked me if I can come. Not even realizing at what level of impairment I was at that point. Of course, I was a few minutes from the fair, a few minutes from my home. Sure, I'll come and get you guys. I really don't remember anything after that at that point. I was obviously driving in a blackout. I do not have any memory of it at all. I don't know. I don't remember picking them up at the fair, getting the 5 kids in the car, or the driving I was doing. I have no memory of it, which is really scary, and that's what happens with blackout drinking. The kids pretty much filled me in on it, but you know, I virtually held them hostage in a car, and they were very terrified. We went off the road at one point, and my daughter, who was 13 at the time, made a really brave decision. She got on the phone, on her cell phone, and she made a call, and she dialed 911, and she got us help. It was brave, it was courageous, it was just the best thing she could have done, because she most likely saved our lives. We don't know how that night would have ended. I was planning on driving more. I was still saying I wanted to drive and get them home. So we don't know where it could have gone had she not made that call, and the police did not come, and I did not get arrested. I will say 2 weeks after this happened with me, I was in treatment, and there was another mom who got in a car. It's just like me, another mom with 5 children in the car, coming home from a family vacation. You know, she got on the highway. She was obviously driving in a blackout. Well, it's my opinion, but you know, she crashed, and those children died. 4 children died that day, and the mom herself, 3 men who were visiting family for dinner on a nice Sunday dinner. They also passed away. For me, that was an eye opener for me. That really hit home for me, because I had 5 kids in the car. We went off the road, but we all were okay. We all walked away from that accident. We were fine. And in her case, that all those children died. And you know, why does that have to happen that way, you know? Mm-hmm. So I'm very grateful, and I'm very fortunate that I have an opportunity I had the opportunity to recover, to maybe help somebody else, maybe put it out there. Especially with moms and dads, but moms more so. When women, in my opinion, when women drink, especially moms, they tend to hide it. They conceal it from their families, their spouses, their employers. What they do is, you know, they're just trying to cover. It's only so long that you can hide it. At some point, it's going to become a problem that you can't cover anymore. You know, I just would like to put it out there. I know there are probably women like me who are home, who are drinking or maybe have a problem with alcohol, and to just let them know that there's so much out there. There's so much help out there. So many programs. There's rehabilitation and 12-step programs, and there's people waiting to help you. Personally, I think in retrospect, I would have called a cab, I would have called a family member, I would have called a friend, have somebody else come and pick the kids up, which is really all you need to do. You just need to have a plan B. And that's really important. My goal is to help maybe prevent another person from doing this. I've heard from moms that have said, oh my gosh, that could have been me. A large amount of moms, even friends of mine, who've had a few drinks at night at home, not even realizing that they were even impaired. They feel fine. And then they get out in that car and it's a whole different story. So for me, it's a matter of getting my message out, my experience, which was tragic for me, but it wasn't a tragedy. And that's where I'm so grateful that I'm able to do things like this.
Oh, so did you enter treatment program? Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. I entered a treatment program. I went into inpatient at Arms Acres, and I got intense treatment. I was inpatient for a couple of weeks, and then I did 3 or 4 months of outpatient, which was daily. It was an intensive outpatient program, and I learned so much. There were things I never knew about alcoholism. There were things that I just never was aware of that that happens to a person. And like we say, you don't, if you drink, you don't think. You really don't. I didn't wake up that day and say, I'm going to drive a bunch of kids to the fair, and then I'm going to go back and get them later on, and I'm going to be intoxicated and possibly kill them. Mm-hmm. That didn't cross my mind. I was just enjoying time with a friend. So, the treatment, well, I will say the treatment was great. Getting attached to a 12-step program really saved me, really kept me going forward in my recovery. I'm more than 2 years sober now, and I do whatever I can to maybe just get a message out there, just to help somebody, help a mom, a dad, anybody.
Looking back, was there a big price you paid, though?
Absolutely.
Can you tell us a little bit about what?
Yeah, I'll tell you, financially, it was really pretty devastating. I had my bail money, which was in the thousands, and then we had to hire a lawyer, and that was another large fee. Also, the fines that come with drunk driving, the DWI fines and the fines for the motor vehicle, those were also pretty high. I lost my job, so there was my income. I lost my health insurance because I lost my job. I could not drive. I lost my license, so I couldn't drive for close to 2 years. So it impacted me in that respect. I could not go back to work. I had to stay home and just, wait, basically. But, and it impacted me. The shame was tremendous. I worked in a local school. I knew a lot of parents. I took care of a lot of their children. And here I went and, I did this thing that was just so devastating. And then how could I face these parents who trusted me with the lives of their children? That was hard. That was really hard to continue to be in the community and be a part of it after this all had happened.
Did your family have to give you rides around and things like that to go places? That could be
Yeah,
burdensome,
family,
right?
friends, and I had car service, and I had to pay for that as well. So that was another big cost. But yeah, it was difficult. Fortunately for me, I had great support. The women in my community were wonderful. They were very supportive. They realized too, having known me and having known me all my years of sobriety, that this was not what I was. This didn't define me as a person. I was not that person. So I had a lot of really good support and a lot of help. A lot of help. People just taking me, to get anything done that I needed to be done.
Thank you very much. So just want to move on. Adam, could you tell us something about the penalty phase of things when you get in trouble? Like if you get caught drinking and driving, what happens?
Sure. Our office did prosecute the case that Sue just mentioned, and at the time, we did prosecute that case aggressively. I think you would agree, Sue, but it was after the tragedy that occurred on Long Island that you also mentioned that the penalties became more severe. So now, if you were to drive while intoxicated, that is with a .08 or higher, with anyone 15 years old or younger in the car, then that would be considered a Class E felony, punishable by up to 4 years in state prison. For a first-time DWI offender, there are penalties. There are jail penalties of up to a year in jail for first offender. First-time offender, who either whose blood alcohol content is .08 or higher.
And how many drinks could that be? Like, would you say?
It could be 3 drinks.
3 drinks? Yeah.
It could be 3 drinks, sure. And people don't think that, and again, it's a misnomer. And it's very important for your audience to understand. When I say 3 drinks, when we say 3 drinks, think about it, that a drink is considered 1 ounce, a shot is considered 1 ounce of alcohol. How many times do you go into a restaurant or a bar and you see the bartender actually pour 1 ounce? It doesn't happen. You're getting 1.5 ounces perhaps, maybe 2 ounces per shot, per drink, mixed drink. In a glass of wine, it's considered a
4 or 5 ounces.
A 4 ounce or a 5 ounce glass of wine. How often do you get a 4 ounce pour of wine? Usually you're getting an 8 ounce pour or higher.
Right.
So, and a beer, a 12 ounce beer is a 12 ounce beer. So 3 of those, perhaps 4, and you are over the legal limit for driving.
Wow.
It is the crime of driving while intoxicated or driving while ability impaired by alcohol. It is when your abilities to operate a motor vehicle are impaired to any extent, for driving while ability impaired by alcohol, which is a violation. Driving while intoxicated requires a higher burden that your abilities to operate are substantially impaired, and you are unable to operate that motor vehicle as a safe and prudent driver. And I'll tell you something, over the last 3 years, or 4 years now, since I've been district attorney, I can tell you that our law enforcement agencies in this county, and I would also say in the state of New York, is so superior to what they were in years past. We have more police officers, more deputy sheriffs, more state troopers who are better trained to detect intoxicated drivers. And that is why I believe, in part, we've seen our numbers go up from 2005 up until 2008, and now finally we are seeing a drop-off, a very nice drop-off in DWI arrests that we are making, that the police are making and our office is prosecuting because of people like Sue getting the message out, people like your show getting the message out, Arms Acres. For those people who are in fact alcoholics, our goal is, of course, to punish for their poor choices, but it's also to assist them in addressing their addiction. Because in the Putnam County DA's office, we believe that if you allow an individual like Sue to address her addiction, you'll modify her behavior. That doesn't mean she's going to get a slap on the wrist, and as she just told you, she did not get a slap on the wrist. But you have to allow alcoholics to address their addiction, modify their behavior. For those of us who just are social drinkers, who are not alcoholics, we got to make better choices. Because if you make those poor choices by having those extra drinks, getting behind the wheel of a 4,000-pound car, turning it into a guided missile, and then if you're lucky, just get arrested by the police, as opposed to devastating your own life, the life of another family, there are substantial consequences.
I just want to ask the group, panel, are there three types of drinkers: a social drinker, a problem drinker, and an alcoholic? Is that possible that this goes on? Three different?
Well, I mean, personally, Jim, I kind of think people have to take a look at the fact, is alcohol or drugs, causing problems in their life? I frankly wouldn't want to distinguish, because I think it kind of gives people a loophole, an excuse maybe to allow themselves to continue drinking if it's a problem. Typically, if someone is asking themselves if they have an alcohol problem,